श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरद्विषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत् सूरयः तेजो वाणी मृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया मनश्च भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजय आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शांति शांति शांति। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter number 16, verse number 4. The story of King Chitraketu. We read in the previous chapter how he had a son after a long wait by the blessing of sage Angira, and then he was poisoned by the stepmothers. This gave great grief to him. At that time, sage Angira along with Narada Muni appeared there, and they tried to explain to him about the temporary nature of human relations. And not only human relations, but our own relationship with our physical body itself is temporary. And everything else based on that relationship is also temporary. So still the king was in grief, and then Narada said that he will give him a mantra by which he will be able to realize God. But before that, what he did, that he called the Atma, or the soul of the son, whose dead body was lying there, and asked him to come back and live in that body. So that's what we read. Now, because of his power, because Narada is a great sage, he was able to get the Atma back into the body. Now the boy is speaking. So he says, Kasmin janmani yami mayam pitro matro bhavan karm virghamyamanasya devatriyam diyonishu. So he is asking a question because Narada said that you please come, all your parents and relatives, they are crying and weeping because of your absence. So you come back. So he is responding, he is saying that by my own karma I have taken so many births. I have been born in the devas and human beings, animals, birds, aquatics, and so many other forms. So in which birth have they become my parents? She said that your parents are feeling sad. So he says, which birth you are talking about? Because I had parents in every birth. So we don't remember our parents from our last births. We don't even remember that we had a last birth or births. So we only know about this life. In this life we have forgotten so many things. We remember a few things. Most of things we have forgotten. We have forgotten so many of our childhood friends. If they come in front of us now, mostly we may not recognize them unless we have been in touch with them throughout. And if they come and inform you, still you may not remember which one it is. Or try to tell you something what you did together as a child, you may not remember. So many things, what we did last week, so many things happened, we don't remember everything. So he says, which parents are you talking about? Which relatives? I had so many parents, so many relatives. Now one who is my father in this birth, maybe I was his father in last birth. So which one do I have to consider? This birth or the previous one? So therefore he is asking, which birth? Just yesterday I was reading the story of Bhagavatam. So he was telling me that I should read. There was some disciple of Prabhupada, he died in 75 in some accident. And now she's a woman in London. So she has written a story how she came to recognize her past life. It's there on some blog. So now which one to consider? To consider that birth and those parents? Or to consider the parents of this life? If you remember, suppose suddenly you remember your past life and your parents are still alive. Suppose if somebody died young and the parents from last life may also be alive and parents from this life are alive. So what would you do now? Which parents will you be attached to? The previous life parent may not care for you anymore. They may think that you are just trying to impose yourself unnecessarily, but they are not going to recognize you. The body is gone. You are in a different body. So the commentator writes, Sesham avshishtam ayur vyapya iti apmrityuna varnam rajanam uhayat. So the king, he was thinking that he has died because of poison, this boy, therefore he must have remaining life, because there is a fixed life. And if somebody dies accidentally, then that life is remaining, which was to be lived in that body. So the king was thinking, Vastutastu tasya nasti eva ayur mayikatva pitri prattam pitri. But really speaking, he did not have that. Jiva vacha iti tad kalevaram pravishto rishir jivan iva jiva iti artha. So he actually says that it is the sage himself who entered into it. That's what he is commenting. He says, iti tadeva kalevaram pravishto rishi jivaniva. Jiva. So he was not actually jiva. Mahyam mama. That is his. Because that jiva, where that atma, where is he gone? How you are going to get him back? It's a difficult thing. So he says that it is the rishi only. बंधु ज्ञाति अरि मध्यस्थ मित्रोदासीन विद्विषः सर्वैः सर्वेषां भवन्ति क्रमशो मिथः. So he said that in that order, in different births, everybody can be a relative. And there are two words for relative. One is called bandhu and one is called gyati. So, bandhu or sambandha is when you have relationship by marriage, etc. Gyati is when you are born. It's blood relation and other relation through marriage, etc. So, people who are with you now, they could have any types of relations. Maybe in the past they had blood relation, marriage relation, or they were neutral to you, or indifferent, or friend, or enemy, or those who hated you. Same person could have played so many roles. Because one who is somebody's son in this life, maybe he was the enemy of the father in the past life. And he has become son only to give him trouble. Sometimes children, they give trouble to the parents right from the birth. All they do is just give trouble. They are born handicapped, and if not, they are very unruly, disobedient, and then when they grow up, they give even more trouble to the parents. So what kind of a son or daughter is that? And we call them trouble. And the parents, they don't understand it. So they are happily going through the trouble. So he looks like a son to you, but he was an enemy. Now you think he is a son or a daughter. Or sometimes parents give trouble. They are very cruel. They beat them because they are small and parents are big. So they continuously beat them, harass them, control them. So those parents look like parents, but they are not parents. So why they are having this mentality? It's coming from the past life. So now you must have done something to them, they are taking revenge with you. And you are happily taking it. Or you have been put in that situation that you allow it. So same with husband and wife. Sometimes they look like husband and wife, but they are only just getting even with each other. So these relations are like that. So he says, everybody can become anything of you. You can become your father, your mother, your husband, your wife, your child, your relative, your enemy, anything. So he says, what are you talking about? Because we don't live just one life. We pass through so many lives. And all relations which we have in this life, they are not new. They all have a story behind it. Actually, I was just reading about these queens, because there is always a past. that why these queens actually gave poison to the boy. Because after all, these queens were not so cruel. They were also educated, they came from good families. And how was it even possible to give poison? Because that boy was also a prince, he was not just left unattended. And all the queens, they planned it. So how is it that the news did not leak out? Because if you plan with one or two person, that is okay, but planning with hundreds of them. And then to give a poison, how will they give poison? So easy. So how is that? And not all of them agreed that yes, this would be done. This is quite an impossible thing. But it did happen. Because when something has to happen, then people's mind become like that. Suddenly some leader comes in the society and everybody becomes influenced by that. It's not that that leader actually is so influential. It is arranged like that. So when communism has to come, then Karl Marx comes. And then he writes, and now if he writes, probably nobody will pay attention to that. So when certain things have to happen, some big movement, it's not just happening because there is a mass karma. So many people are actually involved in this is arranged life. So the story is that these queens, they were ants in their past life. Ants. Ants. Although they became queen. And this boy who was poisoned, he was a prince in the past life also. And one day when he was sitting, and he was born in a religious, obviously kings were religious in those days. So the offering was made to God, and these ants were taking the food from the offering and going, and he was watching this. And then suddenly something came in his mind, he got hot water, and he poured into the hole of the ants. And all these ants died. Because they have touched the prasad, so they became queens. But they took the revenge of killing the boy, all of them. Because all of them have to be involved. Because one person is killing so many people. So now so many people have to kill one person. So all have to consent for that. So nobody disagreed. Because this was the karma. So that happened. And the boy was poisoned. So there is always something behind. Stories have their past coming. We are only told part of it. Because the stories are selected to give us some teaching, some understanding about philosophy. But then when you read the other Puranas, then you find sometimes, like if you read the Garg Samhita, then you see all the past lives of all the Asuras who were born in Krishna Lila. They are described. Who were they? So, mai mrite putra drishtya shokasyat priyate satru drishtya harshaha kim na kriyate. So, Vishnu Chakravarti in his commentary he writes, very nice. This is really brilliant question. He writes. He says as if the boy is asking to Narada or to the parents that you are feeling sad at my death because you think I am your son. He says, why don't you feel happy at my death thinking I am your enemy? Why not? Why not you think that actually this boy was my enemy and it's good that he died, I'm so happy that he died. Because if he would have grown up, we don't know what trouble he would have created for us. So it's just a matter of thinking. Because that's also possible. So he says, why you cannot think like this? What is stopping you from thinking like this? And then feel cool. Stay normal. Well, actually not only normal, but rejoice. You should distribute food. This rascal died. He was the enemy. Of course, everybody will be surprised and they will think that the king has gone crazy. But he could have done that. He could have given a big feast, big bhandara. He said, I'm so happy that my son died. He said, why? He said, because he was my enemy. I found out from the Jyotish that he was my enemy. So I am happy that. And I want to thank all these things. And they got rid of him. Because I would not have done that myself. So this is very interesting. It says, Mai mrite putra drishtya shokasyet kriyate satru drishtya harshaha kim na kriyate. Why don't you celebrate instead of being in grief? Iti ashayana sambandhasya aniyatattvamaha. So with this intention, he is speaking this verse and showing that all relations are temporary. He says, why do you see the relationship only last 15, 20 or whatever is your age in that many years? Why don't you go a little beyond that and see what was the relation with these people? So then he says that it could be anything. So bandhu, bandhavo, vivahadi sambandha. Bandhu, relative, means relative through marriage, etc. And gyate, again, means blood relation. Satyam. Arayo ghataka. Ari means a killer. Maybe somebody was your murderer. Now you are born in a family. Mitrani, hiteshi. Friend means one who does welfare to you. Madhyastha, bahirantar, maitri, vairavantar. And then madhyastha means a middle person who has friendship outside and enmity inside. Externally behave like a friend. Internally, and udasina means indifferent. Neither friend nor enemy. So there is a difference between madhyastha and udasina. So one is indifferent, another is not indifferent, although looks like that. And vidvisha utkarsha asahim. Vidvisha means one who cannot, means envious, cannot tolerate your progress. You make some progress, person becomes envious of you, becomes very disturbed. There are people like that. Sometimes you do not know, but when you are learning something in your life or you are making some progress, there are many people who are getting troubled by that around you. So we don't know. Outside they will smile and congratulate you. Inside, so they were just like these queens, how they were coming and crying, making a show, so fake crying. So this is called Vidvisha. So Kramsha iti janmantare satrurapi yasmin janmani putra bhavati. So he says that all these things are possible with everybody. Means anybody who is your relative or friend or enemy, it can change. Even in one life it changes. Sometimes somebody is your friend, he becomes your enemy. Right? Not sometimes, many times it happens. That friends turn into enemies. Sometimes enemies also turn into friends. Sometimes your relatives become envious of you. The very people whom you loved, they start hating you. The very people whom you considered as your very life, that you could not live without them, now you say, I cannot live with you. Right? So I was reading that the happiest day for a person is when he gets divorced. People are so happy. They celebrate. So, but the same person with whom they are getting divorced now, that they enjoyed loving relationship once upon a time. And then it comes to a state that you don't even want to see the face of that person. So it happens in one life, what to speak of another life, you don't know what can happen in another life. So therefore he is saying that what you are talking about, parent, this, that, all these relations are temporary and they are all changeable. Sometimes even parents disown their children, or the children, son or daughter, they kill their own parents. You read all the time stories. Yastu putraha sadguno bhutva mriyate satu dukh adhikya pradatvat chatrureva iti lokapta. He said that if there is a son or a daughter and she is very wonderful, having good qualities, and then she suddenly dies, so then you are sad because of that. So he said that such a daughter was nice, everything, but now because she died, it's like an enemy. Because she's only causing you pain now. So if someone, he says, therefore there is lokokti, means that there is a general saying in the local parlance. That if you have a son who is of good quality, good character, or a daughter, and then he or she dies, then that person, son or daughter, was actually an enemy. He was only looking for trouble. So this is understood even by local people. Yatha vastuni panyani hemadini tatastata payatanti nareshu evam jivo yonishu kartrishu. Now he gives a very nice example. It's a very nice example. He said, just like you have ornaments. So today you have an ornament, maybe a nice golden necklace studded with gems. You are very much attached to that. Then it gets lost or you sell it. Then it goes to somebody else. Now you have no attachment to that. Now somebody else is attached to it. It's the same necklace. Nothing has happened to it. So what has changed is only our attachment. The sense of possessiveness. So when you had attachment and sense of possessiveness to it, then you derived some satisfaction from it. And if it would have got lost or stolen, then you would have felt pain. But when you lost that attachment or that sense of possession over it, then it cannot give you any pleasure or pain. Even if it was very expensive, and once upon a time you may have been very attached to it. So he says, this happens. So the same ornament goes from one person to another person to another person. Or you own a house, and then you sell it to somebody. After that, suppose that house catches on fire, it doesn't affect you at all. But if it caught fire when you were living in it, then how grieved you will be. So what is the difference? House is a house. So the difference was only because the sense of proprietorship, attachment. That's what made the difference. So if we can understand that this attachment is the source of trouble and also source of happiness, and if we can transcend it, then we become free from this. So that's what yoga means. Sukha dukhe samay kritva labha labha jaya jaya tato yudhaya yujasvani papa manapsat. That's what Krishna says, that if you can remain even-minded, yogastha kuru karmani sangam tattva dhananjaya. He says, become situated in yoga and act. And what is the meaning of becoming situated in yoga? He says, sangam tattva, give up attachment. Siddhya siddhya samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga is defined differently in Bhagavad Gita than in Yoga Sutra. So Krishna says yoga means to be balanced. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga means to be balanced, equanimous, even-minded in all circumstances. So the circumstances will always change. Things outside are always changing. So we have to always remember this, that nothing is permanent except we ourselves. Only the observer is permanent. Everything observed is changing all the time. Sometimes the change is slow, sometimes fast. But nothing is permanent. So if we know this, then we will become free from all distress, lamentation, sadness. We will know depression. Because we understand the nature of things. So he says these are all changing. So don't have to worry about it. Nanu yadi satrurapi putra syat tari tatra atmiyatvena sneha katham. So now a question is raised. He says, if an enemy becomes my son, suppose somebody was an enemy, my enemy in the past life, in this life he becomes my son. So if he is my enemy, why do I have affection for him? Because you don't have affection for an enemy. Because I am having affection for my son or my daughter, then he or she is not my enemy. So why you say that could be enemy? So then he gives an example. So he makes us understand by an example. He says, Pandyani kriya vikriyadi arhani himadini hem mudrikadini hem himudra satru grihaspita satru vad prayojika Sev devad atmagraham agata premaspati bhuta bhoga prayojika. So it says this is some ornament, golden ring or necklace, and be golden coins. In the olden days there used to be golden coins. So suppose that golden coin is existing in the house of the enemy. And it could be the cause of the enemy's death. Somebody can kill him because of his wealth. Or a dacoit, he goes and he kills this person and takes away that wealth. So that wealth is actually instrumental in getting that person killed. So that wealth is like an enemy for that person. Then it comes to you and you are feeling very attached to that. You are feeling attached to it because you don't know that this can be the cause of your death. So you will protect it and you will become very possessive of it. It could be the cause of trouble. He says in the same way, something which is shatru or inimical can become affectionate towards that. Because you think that this is going to give you happiness. Evameva jivyanishu manushya go gardhavadishu ye kartara utpadaka pitaro matrasya teshu provision. So he says in the same way, the soul, the living being, it can enter into a human body, a cow's body, a body of an animal. And the parents, they become affectionate to them. But it could be a source of trouble. So Nityasarthasya sambandho hi anityo drishyate nrishu yavyasya sambandho mamatvam tavadevihi. So he says that if something is eternal, then its relationship with a temporary object cannot be eternal. Because relation is between two things. Whenever there is a relation, then there are two related. A relation is that which joins two objects, two living beings, or one living being and one insentient object. So, if one of them is eternal and the other is temporary, then how the relation will be permanent? Because when that temporary object will be destroyed or changed, then relation cannot subsist. Because relation is that which joins these two things, which exists in both of them. So if one of them has changed, then how can it be joined with the other? Because the one is lost or gone. So in the same way we have to understand that Atma, the soul, the living being, the Purusha, the body, is permanent, eternal. And body is temporary. Whether it is my body or body of my relative. All bodies are temporary. And because they are temporary, I cannot have a permanent relationship with them. So all my relations have to come to an end, sooner or later. This is the reality. But because we do not consider this fact, we do not pay attention to this, then we get into trouble. So that is because of avidya. So this is the avidya, smita, raga, dvesha, pancha klesha. These are the 5 kleshas described in the Yoga Sutra. So they are coming from avidya. First is avidya. So nitya, nitya buddhi, asuchau, suchi buddhi, to consider something temporary as permanent, unclean as clean, miserable as pleasurable. This is called avidya, this is called ignorance. So this is because of avidya that we think like this. But in reality, it's not true. Mama jivasya chitraketu putratvam etavantam kalam asit tavadasau sneha makaro deva atah param anya putratvam prapsyami saeva sneham karishyati iti arthantar nyasena. So now he is saying that, look, I was his son for this period, whatever, as long as this boy lived before he was poisoned. He says that long I had relationship. So I got affection from my father Chitraketu. Now I am dead, now I am going to take another birth, I will have another parent. And then he will be affectionate towards me. So this will change because these relations are temporary, when they are based on the body, and the body is temporary. So therefore there is no need to lament. If you know this, the sun is rising in the east and it goes down in the evening in the westerly direction. We know it. So now we don't have to sit down and start crying. All the days now. That's how it is. It's a cycle. It's going through. So in the same way our life, it rises, takes birth, and then it goes towards death. And in between sometimes there are clouds, sometimes there is fog, sometimes there is good sunlight. So that's how life is. So he says, what is so special about it? I was his son so long, and he was very affectionate to me. Now I go elsewhere, somebody else will be affectionate. So nityasya arthasya svarna mudraya ekasya api priya vikriyadi vivaharena ekasminapi dine anyajan hastadapaya mamayevam vaimayam nanyasya kisambandam. So he gives the same example. He says, suppose you have golden coins. Now suppose you have $1 or €1. So you have euro in your pocket. Then you go and you buy something with it. Then the euro goes into other person's pocket. Before you bought this one in your pocket, you were attached to it. You were protecting. Now it goes into another person's pocket. Now that person becomes attached to it. And you don't care. You are not crying, oh my dollar, my euro, where is it? And you run behind that person and he asks, why are you coming behind me? Oh, you have my euro. So he says, as long as it is with you, you deal with it. Then it goes with you. It is now with somebody else. Now let somebody else take care of it. So he says, in the same way, I was your son. So long, so I had a relationship with you. Now I will have relations with somebody else. That's all like this. So dollar is like the Atma. Money is life. They say money is sweeter than honey. So money is the Purusha, money is the soul, and it is going to different person. That is like taking birth, changing bodies, changing body from one body to another body to another body. So it goes. That's why it is called currency. Right? Why it is called currency? Because it doesn't stay in one place. It keeps on moving. So like that, Atma is moving from one life to another life. So I become attached to it. It's a very nice example. So Swarna Mudraya Ekasyapi Praya Vikriyadi Vyavaharena. So you use this for buying or for selling things. And then it moves from one hand to another hand. So, and wherever it goes, everybody says this is my money. Right? As much it is in your pocket, this is my money. Mamai, mamai, mamai. Nobody else. And how much you are attached to it. Then it goes, then someone else. So it says, therefore, sambandho hi anitya. So this relation is temporary. It's not permanent. So if it is temporary, then don't give your permanent self to it. Because anything which is permanent cannot have a permanent relationship with temporary. The only permanent relationship you can have is with another permanent person, that is God. So God is a permanent person, and we are permanent, we are eternal beings, so we have a relationship with God. Then it will never change. So if you are interested in having a relation, then have it with God. You don't want to lament. Otherwise, every relation is going to bring some lamentation. Every material relation will bring some trouble, some unhappiness. Because why? Because things will change. Even if the person does not change, then his or her mood will change. Here, of course, the boy died. But even if the person is not dying, the person is changing in the mind. And that is also troublesome if it is not according to your liking. If the person changes her behavior, his behavior, and that behavior is not appreciated by you, then what? Then also you are not happy. So even the person is saying, still there can be problem. And you cannot expect everybody to act according to your mind. Right? Everybody is having their own mind. And even they cannot control their minds, so how do you expect that you can control? Even if the person whom you love, he or she has no control over his or her own mind. Now you expect that he or she should act according to my wish, according to my mind. Which is also uncontrolled. But that means you need a lover who is a yogi. And that is Krishna. And he is Yogasvara, so that will love him. Because he has control over his mind. So he can act according to your mind. So you are bound to be in trouble because your mind is not in control. The person you love is his or her mind is also not in control. So there is bound to be a clash. So that is the klesha. So disharmony is natural. That's why people like pets. Understand why if you go to the West, everybody has a dog. Because dog does not revolt. He He's always ready to wag his tail whenever you go. This is the reason. Because actually we want that the person I love should just do what I like to think. So that is only possible if the other person is a machine. That I put this here and it remains here unless I move it. Which means this person should not have a mind of his or her own. So then we want to objectify the person. So that does not happen. Therefore there is problem. So then the solution of course is that you understand that these relations are like evam yoni gato jiva sanityo nirankritah yavyatra labhyeta tavas tvanhitasya tat. So he says that in this way the jiva who is going from one birth to another birth and the living being is free from this possessiveness, the pure living being, and is eternal. So he goes into one body and then out because of avidya considers this body of minus and then develops one ego into that body. And then he, as long as he is in that body, that remains. Then he leaves it, he goes into another body and he gets another type of ego. And so we are having different identities. So the Atma does not have this identity. Atma does not have gender in it, male or female. But Atma enters into the body and then starts thinking, I am a female, I am male, I am American, I am French, I am Indian. But it's not any of these things. So as long as it remains and has this dealing, and then body is given, and the dealing is over. So vastuto nirahankrita eva yatra pitrado tasya pitrado. So he says in reality, the Atma is free from all this. It's only because of ignorance, lack of understanding that this whole relationship continues. All the problems in this material world, which are mainly problems of relations, it's not a problem of anything else. Whether relationship with my own body or relationship with other people, it's all problems of relations. And these problems continue. And of course we don't know how to live without these relations. So it says the fact of course is that the Atma itself has no relationship with anybody. It doesn't have any of such identities. It is free from all this identity. It has its own identity as pure being, but no material identity. And when we identify with the body, then somebody is father, somebody is mother, somebody is daughter, somebody is husband, somebody is wife. And it continues. Yadva nirahankrita eva jivo yavad yatra dehe uplabhyate tavadeva tasya tasmin jivasya dehe svatvam nanyata. So as long as he is in the body, he has that possessiveness, not otherwise. Atvasmin dehe samprati mam svatva bhavat katamatra. So he says, now I am not in this physical body, I have left it, so how can I identify with it? But Narada is saying, you come and live in this body. He says, I cannot live in it anymore because I don't have it. Just like when you sell a house and then you move out and then somebody says, no, come back and live in this house to your house. So how can I go and live? Because you don't identify with that house anymore. So even if you are So you live in a particular house, particular place, only when you identify. You may have lived in some apartment or house in the past, now you live in another house, and you pass by with that apartment. You don't feel like going there. You don't think this is my apartment, my house. You may say, oh, I used to live here. Because you have stopped identifying. So he is saying that I don't identify with this body anymore. When poison was given to me and I left it, I cannot come back and identify. So therefore it is not possible for me that I come back and live again. Tasmat kalevaram samavishyati pratpratham na ghatte veti. So therefore, what you said, that you come and enter into this body, kalevaram svam avishya seshamayu suhadvita, you are not understand that this is your body, come and enter into it. So it says, this is certainly not possible. So I will stop here. We will speak 2 more slokas, then we will disappear. And then the king will wake up to the reality. So the thing is that this story is being told so that we can understand. What happened to Chitraketu? That's okay.
So I understand what he's saying about the relationship between temporal and eternal. I get all that, but like what you were talking about in the beginning about karma and the relationship there between the aunts and the mother and the stepmothers. The karma is it like on a soul level, or is it on a subtle body level? I mean, there's still.
So you have to